This has saved my ass a lot. Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video, we're gonna be doing a tour of my Notion setup. Alright, before I get into anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, as well as tell me in the comments, do you currently use Notion? If not, are you gonna start using it after this? Let's talk about it. Alrighty, so a much requested video I have had is to do a tour of my Notion setup. Notion is a free online productivity site in which you can create any sort of a workspace that you want. It is very customizable. That is kind of the big selling point of it, is you can work it to do whatever you want. I initially got into Notion off of a productivity YouTuber, I don't even remember who it was now, at the time jumped off of a template in order to kind of create my setup. Since then, I think I've been using it for going on 3 years now, and I've really just adjusted it so much to be my own thing. I've made so many different pages, so many different setups, and altered everything in this so much more. I don't even think it's really recognizable as that template anymore. It is my setup. I have created it to work best for me, and that is something that I love about Notion, is you can do that. You have the ability to make it work for you. It does take some time to get used to it, I will say. There are many different tours out there with many different templates. I highly recommend thumbing through some of them, finding one that looks like it would work best for you. It goes along with what you're wanting, and then using that as a jumping off point. Once you get the system down, once you figure out all of the things you're wanting to do with it, you can make it yours, and that's what's great. That's why I love it. So we are officially going to dive in. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a heads up that I have already had a fair amount to drink. I might get a little rambly, but you know, I wanted to relax. So starting at the top is my desktop page. The basic page that pulls up whenever I go to my Notion page. As I said, this is incredibly customizable, which includes photos, and that is something I also really like doing, because sometimes I just want to make things look pretty, and then other times I just need a certain something to get the right mindset. Obviously, this is labeled Nat's Brain because that is literally what this feels like most of the time. So I have my home page, which is generic day-to-day life stuff. My index page, which is probably the one I will go into the least, just because this is kind of a place for me to keep track of stuff. Recipes, gift ideas, wish lists. I have a lot of things regarding my house involved in this. My index is more like a reference book. And then obviously book content. Probably gonna be the one I will spend the most amount of time on, seeing as how it is most relevant to this video, to the content I create. But let's start out at the top with my homepage and this very adorable photo of Faith laying her head on my book. So like I mentioned, this is very much my weekly, everyday life sort of stuff. So I have some daily things that I like to keep track of. So at the start, I have a habit tracker. I think habit trackers are very self-explanatory. Mine, I go through and list out what day of the month it is. I have the amount of pages I read, and then obviously I have a checklist for all of the different habits I keep track of. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm actually not very good at keeping track of my habit tracker. Sometimes I do get on a real kick for it. Probably the one thing I am best about tracking is my reading. So just a run through of what stuff I have on here. Morning routine, healthy eating, taking my vitamins, washing my face, working out, stretching when I was trying to get back into actively stretching every day, journaling, actually reading. This one is connecting with someone I don't in my everyday life. I could write in if I called my grandma, if I video chatted with my college friends, if I reached out to a high school friend and hung out with them, if I posted on my social media, because sometimes I have challenges for myself in which I will try to post 5 days in a row or more. And then finally, my nighttime routine. So before we get into the next page, I did want to tell y'all that this is a table layout. I'm gonna try and use the accurate term for the pages I create, so that if you want to create something yourself very similar to mine, you can do that. So on my homepage, I made a slash, which is a command, and it pops up with this little block, /, and then I would hit page, embedding a new subpage, and then on this page, see how it says table? Click on that. And so there isn't a data source, you're wanting to create a new one, new database. So within this table, you can go through and mark these different types of things you want to keep track of. If you just want it to be something you type in, text, number, select, you can choose one of these, and then you can make the different select options. You just type one in and it'll save that for future use. There's also multi-select, status. or checkbox, which is obviously what I utilize the most in my habit tracker. So it's just a little showcasing of how you do a table. Like I said, I'm gonna try and make this as helpful as possible because I know it can be really overwhelming when you first start into Notion. Then I have my morning routine and night routine laid out. These are just basic checklists on a extra page. I'm not gonna walk through those. I have a meal planner, which I'm really not that great about using. I type in what I'm planning for lunch or dinner that day, and then I can link it with recipes that I do have saved in here. I don't save a lot of recipes in my Notion page just because I tend to use Pinterest for recipes a lot. So rather I might put a link for a pen that has a recipe I'm wanting to use. With this one having an arrow, you can see it says Nat's Brain /index. So this is a linked page that I have on my home, but the actual housing of my meal planner is under index, which, as I mentioned previously, is more of like a reference book. My brain dump, self-explanatory, exactly what it says on the tin. It's just random information I need to keep track of at certain points. I don't really utilize my brain dump on my computer very often. This is more something I use on my phone. Then documentation. So I have my reading directory, which is something I've shown you guys many a times in my different resets. I have a monthly TBR, which I will then mark the month that it pertains to. So in this case, we have February. I can mark multiple months if I need to. That means this is a multi-select. Title is a simple text setup. Author is a multi-select because sometimes there are multiple authors to a book. When I click on here, if the author's name is already listed in here, that means it's a repeat author for me. So that's something nice to keep track of with this. In here, and I have to create a new one. It's a new author to me. Whether or not I own it, very simple checkbox, yes or no. Format, very self-explanatory, another multi-select, and this is most important when it comes to library holds for me, whether or not I can get it in audio or if I need to go for ebook. And then tags. These are just little things I like to keep track of myself. So I have like POC author, own voices, LGBT+, if it is nonfiction, this is my personal book club. If it relates to an author taste test, am I doing a buddy read with this? Is it a advanced reader copy? And then obviously for pages, it is a number selection and then extra notes. This is just so I can keep track of anything I think I need to know when it comes to this book. For example, Heart-Shaped Box is from my 10 books to get read for 2024. The Guild of Stories is from my 12 Recs by 12 Friends. I'm gonna be buddy reading Divine Might with Brie. And then if I scroll down on this page, I do have a few more tables included in here, but I don't use them quite as often. So first up is a long-term video TBR where I will put in books that are relating to different videos. And I know I want that video to be completed by a certain month. So for example, my workplace romance books, I want to obviously have that completed for February. Women's empowerment is on March 8th. Want to have that completed for March. Same basic idea here. The only real difference is I have genres listed. And this is so if I'm creating a TBR for like a readathon or something, I might be able to utilize that if I need it. So I can sort through this TBR a little bit easier. Once upon a time, I was keeping track of my own TBR shelf in here, but I don't really keep this up to date now. I utilized it for, I think it was like a month long. It might've been last year's Realmathon because I was wanting to read like only fantasy books from my shelf. And so this allowed me to see if the audio was available somewhere else. I could track that easily. If it was relating to a different video idea that I had, that sort of stuff. So with this one, it is a table command as well. It has a default view of a table, but I could also hit this plus sign, and doing so, you can change the view of it to be like a board, a calendar layout if there's dates related to it, a list, which is similar to the table, but it's slightly different. Timeline, again, if it's relating to dates, or a gallery view, which I think the only one I have is a gallery view. Is it a can-can? I think that's what it's called, a can-can board layout. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I just prefer the generic table view. That's just my preference, but I wanted to toss that out there. Another one on documentation is a watch queue that I have. This is literally what it says on the tin. It's a list of different TV shows I wanna watch. Keep track of whether or not they're currently ongoing, whether I'm in the middle of them, haven't started, if I wanna watch it by myself, if I wanna watch it with Josh, if I wanna watch it with my brother and my sister-in-law, and then where I can watch it. Crunchyroll, HBO Max, Netflix, iTunes, Plex, any of that sort of stuff. And then I do have genre in here, but I don't really keep track of that as much. I'm gonna skip over a few of these. I do have my book content one linked here as well, but we're not gonna get into it just yet. Monthly goals, right now the only one I really have is my yoga challenge, but I want to become better about making little goals for myself, so I do have some available space. And then obviously this ongoing to-do list that I need to do, which again is a very simple one. Just hit / and then to-do list tab. And that is the basic idea for this one down here, which is just my weekly to-do list, basically. It's where I keep track of stuff I need to get done every single week. So going back to my brain, we'll check out my index real quick. Like I said, I'm not gonna talk too much about this one just because I don't use it a lot. So starting at the top, I have an exercise list. Was when I was going to the gym quite often and I had set go-to ones I wanted to do. I would keep track of those in here. Literally just an embedded page that I started typing on. This little doodad is called a toggle / toggle. And so can type whatever it is I want, and then a drop down box, type anything else. Whenever you close the drop down, that disappears. I'll bring this one up again later when we're talking about my book content planning. This is really useful for like readathons and TBRs. As I mentioned, I have a recipe tracker that I have in here. I'm just not super good about updating this. It does require a lot of time to actually put all of this information in, when 9 times out of 10, I rather just go to Pinterest. There are a few recipes I have in here that are like go-to ones I've made time and time again, so it is easy to have them available in here, but I also have them readily available on my Pinterest boards. My stuffs, this was a way for me to keep track of things that I needed to buy, particularly regarding makeup and like personal care stuff. I tend to have a lot of stuff stored back, but you know, if I ever need something and I went to Ulta or Sephora when there was a sale, I could easily pull this up and check stuff that I needed. I have a wish list, which is another table layout. So have a labeling of whatever the product is, a price. Again, this is some stuff that I have kept track of in the past, but I'm not always great about actually keeping track of it. The tags I mostly utilize if it's like a piece of clothing and I need to record what size, and then an active link to whatever that product is. This is basically a page I've shared for gifts before. Meal planner we looked at earlier. I'm not gonna pull up the house one just because it has some photos of my house and, you know, privacy reasons. This one was really useful for whenever I was moving. I also have a gift ideas page for family members, and then I have a trips page where I can keep track of things for any trips I take. Self-explanatory. Like I said, this was just gonna be a quick overview because I don't use those nearly as much as this book content page. This is literally my child when it comes to content planning. So starting at the top, I have an immediate to-do list. This is just a very easy way for me to get a glance at what I need to get done soon. 5 different pages here. Obviously, my most used one is my book reviews. This is once again a table. So I have the title of the book, and then with that, whenever you open these, there's this little opportunity to add an emoji. I like to just add something that I feel connects with whatever the book was, the contents, the cover, or something along those lines. Same idea as my reading directory. Author, if the name has not popped up on there, that means it is a new author to me. If it does, it's a repeat author. The date I finished the book, which when you click on this, it actually shows a calendar layout. Main genre that I feel this book falls under, whether or not I own it. What is my rating? So genre is a multi-select, because not always, but sometimes I do feel like certain books kind of split genres. But for rating, for example, it is a single select because I'm not gonna have multiple ratings for a single book. If I have a video that this book is related to, and then once I have reviewed the book, I will hit this check mark, and that makes it disappear because I have this filter listed so that the books that show up are only those where the review posted is unchecked. Obviously, I can remove said filter and I will see all of my reviews for every book I've put in here. And what I just had open was if I clicked on this actual page within the table, and this way I can actually type in a review that I want to have. It makes things a lot easier for me. Whenever I finish a book, I try to write up my review as soon as possible, and then I will automatically, once I've filmed my wrap up and it has been posted, will go and share those reviews on Goodreads and Storygraph. I do also have some little systems that I utilize in other cases. So for example, this book is related to a 5x5 I have planned for mythology retellings. So when I read through the book and I hit the halfway point, I will type up my first half review, and then when I finish the second half of the book, I will go in and edit my review with the text that I'm editing bolded and italicized, so it stands out more to me when I'm talking out my thoughts for my second update. And then obviously I can very easily remove that whenever I go to share the review on Goodreads or Storygraph. I'll also change up how I order my wrap-ups. So this is a very easy way for me to do that. My default is to always have these ordered with the oldest book that I haven't posted a review at the top, the newest one at the bottom. But if I wanted, I could go over here and on my sort, I could change this to say rating. So it goes from my lowest rating to my highest rating. My DNF's kind of, since it's a word in comparison to like star ratings, it's a little wonky, but that's an easy one to look at. Or if I wanted to go by, let's say, genre, I could do that as well. Another thing that's great with this is whenever I'm sharing reviews for, say, a 5x5, I don't post my reviews for those books until my 5x5 has been posted. So then on here, I can add a filter, video related, and I want those that only contain, let's say, 5x5 fairy tale retellings. So bam, only the ones that are marked as fairy tale retellings will show up on here, which makes it a lot easier when I go to share my reviews. Also, wow, looking at my ratings on this one, it looks like this is gonna be a rough video. One other thing for my wrap-ups, I only review books in my wrap-ups that I don't review in other themed videos. So if they are blank, that means I wanna talk about those books in a wrap-up. So again, I can very easily add a filter, video related, and I want to say is empty. Okay, that's the only books that I have on here that I want to talk about in my wrap up. So that's how I keep track of all my book reviews. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have these pages that I don't really utilize as much as I probably need to or want to, but I have book clubs listed in here as well. For the book club, it relates to what book they're reading and what month they're reading it in, whether or not I'm interested in it or I've previously read it. And then if I scroll down, I had links to like corresponding social medias for those book clubs. I don't keep track of this one. It's very behind, but to be fair, I'm also just not nearly as good at participating in book clubs as I like to pretend I am. This experimenting one is basically a content creator brain dump is what it boils down to. Yeah, I don't remember what some of the stuff even really means or what it meant at the time. I did have a series tracker that I included in here, but for the most part, the series tracker I keep on my spreadsheet is much more up to date and a lot easier. It's a lot more condensed. Sponsorships, it has my 𝗖cie sponsorship, which I still have linked to. So if you're interested in 𝗖cie coffee, link for that is down in the description. But this is just a place where I could easily keep track of files relating to sponsorships if necessary in the future, which hopefully it will be. We're gonna go into my content planner. So this one, once again, is a basic table view, but I've since figured out that the calendar layout works a lot better for me because it allows me to actually see when my videos are going to be posted, other dates that I want to keep track of. For example, like this one, you can see Jante's Inferno readathon. I have that listed, but I also have different calendar layouts if I would like. I have YouTube specific, blog, I think it was my Tumblr, but I've fallen off of doing that, Instagram specific, and then my archived and completed. Once it has been posted, I have nothing else to do for it. I will mark it as completed. Obviously, did not end up happening. I will mark it as archived and it will go to this page. I won't see it on my usual content calendar because it's already done. I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's a calendar version of a checklist. I also have a ARCs table view. That's what this one is. This one also has completed versus archived. If it's listed as approved, that means obviously I've been approved for said ARC, but I haven't actually read it or posted a review for it anywhere. But now looking at my content planner. So I have 4 main templates that I will use on my content planner. Add a plus sign, that creates a new page. And then on this page, I have the title, labeling of what the video is going to be, a TBR, a vlog, a tag, something like that. Property relates to, is it going on YouTube? Is it going on Instagram? ARC. Posting date. And then I have a single select for status. On these, I have unstarted, filming, editing, if it is Instagram related, writing, scheduled, pending, archived, completed, approved. I do have a space to input the thumbnail. Sometimes I will do this, sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends. And then type. I'm not as good about keeping track of this one, but sometimes to do this so I can see, wow, I have way too many vlogs back to back to back. I need to space those out a little bit. So vlog, tag, taste test, TBR, wrap up, plan with me, book review, that was more when I was doing Tumblr, unhaul/haul, and a 5x5. These babies down here. When you open this page and you don't have these, you have the little new template, which you can click on, will allow you to edit this template so that whenever you mark something as that template, it will automatically always have those entries saved. For example, if I mark this page with my YouTube template, it automatically puts in YouTube as the property, and then the status will default to unstarted. I also have some information down here in the body of the page that is defaulted on my YouTube template as well. So for title ideas, obviously with each of my videos, I just utilize some weird thing that I say to label it. It's just something fun to me. And if there's something I remember especially as being kind of strange or like, oh, that would be sort of eye-catching, I will type that in here whenever I'm editing or when I'm uploading the video. Keywords, a lot of these are very much defaulted, but if there are certain keywords I really want to mark in the tags for my video, I will put those in here so I won't forget. Then I do have a space for sponsor information. Like I said, hasn't been utilized in a minute, but hopefully it will again here soon. I do have a publishing checklist, but if I'm completely honest, I do most of this on default because I've done so many videos at this point that I don't even really need to look at this, but I have it if I want to. Watch the video for errors, upload it onto YouTube, create an ad thumbnail, add the description, include timestamps if necessary, as well as including tags, add video to a playlist if needed, add tags, add end cards, add cards themselves, and schedule the video. On content area, if for some reason I need to add in research or there's certain notes I really want to take for said video, I will include those in here. This also doesn't get utilized a lot. I tend to just end up putting information into this body of the page, but if it starts to get a little bit too much, I will add it to the research and notes so it's on a separate page. And then my description. Even within this description, I have it saved as part of the template, which is fantastic. So all of this stuff, all of these links that I just automatically always include in my videos, I don't have to type them constantly. I can edit them within the template once and it defaults across all of their videos. So I like to include some information for a few different matters that I find very important. I put some links in there. My single affiliate link currently, different ways that I can be supported by my wonderful followers, you guys. Then I will put interested in more videos. I do alter these to be my last 3 most recent videos, so those I do have to change every single time. Different places you can find me is my social medias. Again, doesn't change. Same with my contact information or my graphics, unless I'm utilizing like a graphic from a readathon, in which I will mention it there. Music, Morning Rain is the easy one that I always have in my exit. If I'm doing a vlog or I happen to have a lot of B-roll and I include a song, then I will add that in here as well. I like to keep track of my sub count whenever the video is posted. Default tags that I just will include in the description to sort of work with the algorithm. I can edit this to include, like, let's say timestamps and books mentioned, and it'll only relate to this single page because I'm not editing the template. Back to our example page. I also have video information that I like to keep track of. This is just a small table that I have in here, and the default check marks are filmed, edited, uploaded. It really should be filmed, uploaded, edited, but alphabetical works better in my brain. This is mostly utilized whenever I'm doing a vlog and I have a lot of footage. Less so weekly vlogs. Mostly I will just go based on the date corresponding to when the video was made. For example, let's go to my 5x5 that's coming out here soon. I know I'm gonna need an intro, but I haven't filmed that yet. But I have it marked on here. I have filmed my Getting Schooled update, so I put the first one in, checkmarked it as filmed, checkmarked it as uploaded. Or down here, just today, I filmed my How You Get the Girl second update, but I have not yet edited it. And this is an easy way for me to keep track of all this information, particularly when filming it and then transferring it to my computer, so I don't have to worry about losing footage. This has saved my ass a lot. Just the other day, I really thought I hadn't filmed an update for my most recent Star Wars book, but I went back and checked my content planner. Yeah, I did. It's actually already on my computer. I do also have this B-roll layout one, which is the exact same thing. It is just a table that I included in here. I added this one in for like Raid My Shelves vlogs, where I will have an update and then I will try to put in little bits of B-roll to separate the updates. Less concerning if I lose a piece of B-roll. I have backup. I can always refilm that. Might be ruining some of the movie magic for y'all, but it's true. And then if there are specific videos that I want to mention in the cards, or if there's a specific video I want to link in my exit, is my YouTube template right there. Like I said, this baby is a time saver. And then let's look at my Instagram one. So this one obviously was Instagram related. I have it as pending because unfortunately I don't have the ability to schedule posts on my Instagram. If I feel the need to include the photo or video in my Notion, I can add that here, but I don't really do that. Rather, I have a space so I can type up my caption ahead of time. My tags, I have a ton. I have so many. And that's because these are all ones that I utilize a lot. Not necessarily like August bullet journal, but month bullet journal. I have a ton relating to bullet journals, which is ironic since I'm not really posting those anymore. All that sort of stuff that are just gonna be default ones that I want to have marked. Just a little tip, because I didn't know this for quite some time. If you're adding in something like, let's say, a readathon, on the posting date, I select this and I wanna add end date on here. So this allows it to be more than a single day. And that's how I get the ability to add like my readathons on here. Sometimes I will include information on these readathon pages, but not always. So like I mentioned previously, when it comes to that toggle command that you can use, this is a great example of when it really comes in handy on a TBR. I have my set list of books that I want to read that, you know, completing my TBR jars, my little goals that I have every month, my book clubs I want to partake in. I also have the readathon. I included the toggle here for Jante's Inferno so that I have this information available, but it does make the page a lot longer. So if I'm not looking at specifics of Jante's, I can just close that toggle and it makes things a lot simpler. And as you can see, I do put a lot of information in here. It is always changing. It is always being edited. That's the content calendar. Next on this page, I have a Kanban board. Kanban, not Can. A board view, basically. I have a board view on here. On this one, I have the sections listed as no status. This is more notes, basically. I have my big picture layout. This is an idea I got from the Bliss Bean and I love it. So I will mark the year and then I have the different months utilizing the toggle feature. And then within those months, I will mark down different videos that I know for a fact I want to have posted in those times. So like February, my 5x5 for Valentine's Day. March, International Women's Day vlog. April, that's gonna be when I post my first quarter book haul. So this is just a really easy way to keep track of videos for the long term that I know for a fact I'm gonna wanna post around that time. I also keep in here my books for 2024 list. So I have my 10 books for 2024, my 12 recs by 12 friends, and then also my anticipated releases. I also have my books to buy. I have a little easy check for my tabbing, specifically romance books. My Star Wars canon project, this is a page that I made myself to make things a little bit easier for tracking. I have in the works, which means I currently have started working on this video. I have either read the first book, I have filmed the first updates, I have done something that has started this video off. Ready to film means I could start filming for right now. Maybe I need to read a book first, but I could literally start it at this moment, but I don't need to. I still have other videos planned. That's why tags are included in my ready to film, because I don't have to film that right now. It's a great thing to slide in if I need a break from all of my planned videos, if I need something to separate multiple different vlogs, if I don't know what to post for a certain day. slide in a tag. On my tags, I do have a kind of default way I will keep track of these. If somebody tags me in the video, I will automatically put in who created the video and try and find a link to their original. And then I will put in who tagged me in the video as well as a link to theirs. And then I will put in the questions. So this makes it really easy for me to copy and paste this off of this video ideas and then insert it onto my calendar. And then I have my slightly plans. These are videos that, you know, I come up with the idea, but I might need to workshop it a little bit more, sort of figure out some more specifics to go into it. And then not started, these are more an outside factor affects it. For example, like if you like this, try this. I need to still figure out a list of books that will work for that layout before I can film a video. Goodreads Choice Awards Reacts. I've never filmed one of those, but I do have the idea listed in case I ever want to. Obviously, I can't film that until the Goodreads Choice Awards is announced. If there is this little note, that means I have additional information typed in. If there's not, then it's literally just the title and that is it. I do also have that video breakdown from my YouTube template page as an option for videos in the works on here. And obviously on these, it's very easy. You can see if I know a month that I'm gonna have that video posted, I will put the first 3 letters at the beginning. If I don't, it's just question marks. I've started on this one. I've read the first book. I filmed 2 updates. I've uploaded one of them. Ooh, that's good to know. I should look into that. I have the next 2 books I want to read for it. I have no idea when it's gonna get posted. I still have some time. I have other priorities that I need to finish first. So you can see I have a million videos in the works. Some of these I haven't actively started, some of them I have, but I really need to complete some of these before I start new ones. So that's it for my video ideas board. And then this last bit is just random information that I have. HTML versions of links are ways for me to copy that information onto Goodreads. I don't know why I have them in like 5 different places, but I do. So all right, that is a tour of my Notion. That is how I utilize Notion to work for me when it comes to content planning. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments. I am totally willing to answer them to the best of my ability. Make no guarantees. I am not an expert. This is literally just how I've learned to use the system best for myself. If there are any sort of pages or databases, tables that you want to figure out how to use and do yourself, but I went through it too fast or I didn't explain it, also ask me information about that. I just don't really feel super comfortable with allowing my entire page to become a template. It's still so wonky and so weirdly mine. But again, please leave me any questions you have in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. So that is it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave me a daisy in the comments down below. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I have all my socials as well as a few ways you can support me linked in the description. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!